You look in the mirror and you see it. You lost the weight, but you also lost the shape. The arms are thinner, but softer. The stomach is smaller, but spongy. You dieted your way right into looking skinny fat, and you feel weaker. That's the betrayal. You did the hard work. You said no to the breadbasket. You fought for every pound. And your reward is a body that feels less capable than when you started. That's the cycle. It's a trap. And you know the old saying, after 50, you have to choose. Lose the fat and watch your muscle melt away with it, or try to build muscle and resign yourself to getting puffy, to a bulk. That's the zero-sum game they sold you. Lose fat or gain muscle. Pick one. It's a lie. A dangerous one. Because if you follow a young person's playbook, starve for months, then eat everything in sight, your body doesn't play along. When you starve, you lose precious muscle you can't afford to lose. When you bulk, you don't add lean tissue. You glue stubborn fat right to your organs. That cycle accelerates everything you were afraid of. The weakness, the frailty, the metabolic slump. So you stop trying. You accept the softer, weaker version as the only option. That's the threat, not the fat. The resignation. The belief that your body's machinery is now working against you. Let's fix the machinery. By the end of this, you will know the 3 physiological levers to pull. You will have a 4-part framework, 2 nutrition rules, 1 training principle, 1 recovery non-negotiable. This isn't about getting huge. It's about reclaiming density. It's about losing the sponge and finding the structure underneath. First, we need to talk about your hormonal environment. Think of it as the weather inside your body. After 50, that weather turns foggy and cold. Signals get lost. You develop anabolic resistance. That's a $10 term for a simple problem. Your muscles go deaf. They stop listening to the signals to grow. Protein floats by. Exercise happens. But the muscle just shrugs. Growth hormone declines. The entire system is biased toward breakdown, not building. That's the hostile takeover. But you can stage a counter coup. You don't need to massively spike testosterone. That's a fool's errand. You need to clear the static so the signals you already have can get through. You need to lower the background noise of inflammation and insulin resistance. Cut the processed seed oils. Slash the added sugars. This is the generic wellness advice. This is sabotage prevention. You're not just lowering blood sugar. You are scrubbing the gunk off the insulin receptors on your muscle cells. You are making them sensitive again. The goal is to reopen a metabolic window. A few hours a day where the weather clears, the fog lifts, and your body is primed to rebuild. That's the foundation. Fix the signal. Then we send the right building materials. Now we send the building materials. Protein. Forget everything you've heard about the recommended daily allowance. That number is for survival, to keep your body from cannibalizing itself. We're not in the survival business anymore. We're in the reconstruction business. You need a surplus, a specific, deliberate surplus of protein to shout through that anabolic resistance. Your muscles are deaf. We're going to blast the signal. The research is clear. 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight. Every day. Do the math. For a 180-pound person, that's 130 to 180 grams daily. That's not a suggestion. That's the threshold. The line in the sand between breakdown and repair. And you don't get it by having a big steak at dinner. You spread it out. 4, maybe 5 meals. Each one needs a triggered dose. 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein. 4 ounces of chicken. 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt. A scoop of a good whey isolate. Why? Loosen. It's the key that physically unlocks the muscle-building machinery inside the cell. No leucine, no signal. Whey, eggs, lean meats. They're loaded with it. This is the first rule. Hit your protein. It is more important than slashing calories. Which brings us to the energy balance, the sweet spot. You cannot rebuild in a famine. A huge calorie deficit tells your body to burn everything, including muscle. And you cannot rebuild in a feast. A surplus tells your body to store the excess as fat. We need a third option. A slight deficit, a whisper of scarcity, 1 to 300 calories below what you burn in a day. Just enough to tell your body to tap into stored energy. But because you're flooding the system with protein and triggering growth with training, that energy gets pulled from your fat stores and directed to your muscle cells. That's the metabolic magic. That's the recomposition. Your body becomes a renovation project, using old lumber to build new walls. Find your maintenance calories with an online calculator. Then subtract 200. That's your starting line. Fill the rest of those calories with fibrous vegetables and some healthy fats. Avocado, olive oil, a handful of nuts. They control the hunger and fuel the work to come. This is the second rule. The slight deficit. Protein plus a whisper of scarcity. That sets the table. Now we need to give your body a reason to use it. We need a blueprint. That's training. This is where we pivot from biology to action. From setting the table to breaking a sweat. Forget lifting to failure. Forget the ego. Your job is not to move the most weight. Your job is to create the most intelligent tension. Progressive tension. Compound movements. Squats. Presses. Rows. Movements that demand your body work as a single angry unit. But the secret is in the tempo. Control. A 3-second descent. A pause. A 1-second push. Make the muscle work for every inch. Time under tension. That's what creates the metabolic stress that screams at your body to adapt. Each week, your goal is simple. 1 more rep. 5 pounds more on the bar. 1 second longer in the pause. A cleaner form. Small, relentless victories. That anabolic signal from a session like this, it lasts for days. It holds that metabolic window open, waiting for your next protein meal to walk through the door. This isn't about being the strongest person in the gym. It's about being more capable than you were last Tuesday. Strength is a skill. Rebuilt. 1 deliberate rep at a time. All of that work, the protein, the tension, the careful deficit, it can be erased overnight by the one thing we treat as an afterthought. Recovery. This is the non-negotiable, the foundation the house is built on. Without it, the house sinks. You have 2 enemies here, cortisol and poor sleep. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's catabolic. It breaks things down. It tells your body to store fat, specifically around your middle, and it steals amino acids from your muscles to use as fuel. It is the anti-repair. And then there's sleep, or the lack of it. Deep sleep is when 95% of your human growth hormone is released. That's the repair crew. The night shift that shows up to fix the damage from the day's work. No deep sleep, no crew. Here's the brutal part. 1 night of poor sleep can increase your insulin resistance the next day. The degree of that sabotage is similar to eating a high-fat diet for 6 months. 1 night. That's how fragile a metabolic window is. So we protect it. 7 hours. Minimum. 8 is better. Make the room dark. Make it cold. Think of it as a prescription. Magnesium glycinate can help. Tart cherry juice. Find your thing. And stress. You need a daily downshift, a deliberate deceleration. 10 minutes of walking, nothing intense, just movement. 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth, slow. Morning sunlight on your face. These are not luxuries. They are physiological levers. They lower the cortisol. They signal safety. This is the fifth pillar. The one that makes the other four stand up. Manage recovery. So let's put it all together. You started this believing you had a binary choice. Get smaller or get softer. Lose fat or gain muscle. That was the old model. The broken model that gave you the skinny fat betrayal. Now you have a synchronized process. Clear the static and the signal with smart food choices. Flood the system with protein, 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo, spread across the day. Create a whisper of a calorie deficit, just 200 calories below maintenance. Build intelligent, progressive tension with compound lifts and brutal control. And then protect the entire operation with managed recovery and deep sleep. Your metabolism after 50 is broken. It's misunderstood. It requires nuance, not force. You are not at the mercy of your age. You have direct control over the levers that decide whether your body breaks down or rebuilds itself. The fear of losing muscle becomes the strategy for building it as the fat is lost. The mirror stops being an enemy and starts being a report card. This is the escape from the cycle. It is challenging. It is specific. It is yours. A quick practical note. Hitting that daily protein target is the hardest logistical step for most people. If you need a tool to make it easier, a high-quality protein powder, a whey isolate, or a plant blend high in leucine is the most efficient way to get that 30 to 40 gram trigger dose without the extra calories. The link to type I recommend in the description below, but the framework is what matters. The understanding that you are the foreman of this renovation. Pull the levers. The machinery still works.